It is game week. I asked our staff the other day. I said, how many? I guess it might have been Sunday. I said, how many guys thought we'd get to game week? And there wasn't too many hands raised up in the air. But we are here. Had a team meeting last night. Our kids are excited. There was a little bit different excitement, I think. As we've talked weeks ago, I'm not sure if kids thought we'd get here either. If our coaches aren't believing it, then I'm certainly sure that our players weren't as well. But we've gotten here. Our kids are excited. There was a buzz, like I said last night. I'm excited. We get into the normal game week, and we got a really good Austin Peay team that we'll talk about. I'm sure you guys got some questions about them. But we had a rehearsal scrimmage on Friday. We were debating whether to have it Friday or Saturday. Got it in Friday. It was very detailed, very focused. I was happy with the way we came out of that. As far as just all the details of a game, it wasn't a physical scrimmage, but it was one of the better ones we've had here. Sometimes when they know it's not a full contact scrimmage, it's not what you want it to be. But it was a good scrimmage. So with that, I'll open it up for questions and let you guys roll.
Pat, how confident are you in your offensive line? And you're really experienced on the left side, obviously not as experienced on the right side.
How confident? I'm really confident. I'm confident until I'm not confident, right? I've got a lot of confidence in really. You talk about the left side with Carter and Bryce Hargrove over there, but you got Jimmy in the middle. I'm great anytime we got Jimmy Morrissey sitting in the middle, and you got Cradle, who's played good football. Gabe Hoy's been really good. The Wilson kid, which you guys haven't seen play yet, is coming along every day. Matt Gonsalves is a guy that has showed that he can play tackle and guard. So we got a swing guy there. So I'm excited about where we are. And again, that's why you play games. If, we're going to find out who they are, what they are, what this 2020 team looks like at Saturday, 4 o'clock. That's when we really know. That's when I'll have even more confidence, Jerry.
We just got this depth chart, and we're seeing Wendell Davis in the middle linebacker job. What did he do in camp to kind of win that job?
I think I mentioned it to you, a week ago, week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. It's called consistency. He was just steady. The guy hasn't missed a practice. He hasn't missed a beat. He's been sharp with getting everybody lined up. Just consistent. He knows what's going on. The first day we come out with game plan rules as far as what he's going to do up front and everything. He comes out and he doesn't miss a beat. He's just been consistent, and Chase Pine's been good too. So it's been a battle in there, and but I just he's been physical. He just hasn't stopped doing what he did the first day. And sometimes you see a guy go like this and be up and down and ride the waves, but he's been very, very consistent.
Pat, it looks like this is Davis Bevel or Joey Yellen at backup quarterback. Is that something that, again, you guys need more time to figure out? Or
Yeah, Nick Patty's been good too, so don't forget Nick. Who just, EJ's like, hey, you can't put 4 quarterbacks on there. And again, Nick missed a little time with being nicked up, but Nick being Nick. It's a work in progress, really. When you look at Joey's come in, it's a new thing. Davis has played outstanding. I'm sure if you went around the room, you'd have guys say both of them are the number 2. So we're going to find out when game time comes around and they get that opportunity. But we've been happy with Davis, been happy with Joey as well. So, they're meeting with Coach Whipple right now. So they're all getting schooled up.
Pat, probably tied to Jerry's question about the offensive line. You mentioned a few weeks ago about getting the running game going. How do you feel what you've accomplished up to this point?
I think it's always hard. We're going to find out on game day. Our defense is pretty stout versus the run, as you guys know, and it hasn't gotten weaker. It's gotten stronger, I think. Again, we'll find that out on game day if it really has. But it's so hard to tell against our defense and defensive line and the way we attack the line of scrimmage with our linebackers. So we're going to find out, and that's there's a group of tailbacks there that we're going to find out who gets hot and who's making plays, and then we're going to find out who our starter is. If a guy gets in there and trips and falls down, well, he probably not going to see the next series. So it's going to be who shows up on game time, game day, and gets the work done. But I got trust in every one of them. Daniel Carter has been has been hot since the beginning. He's been consistent, kind of like a Wendell at middle linebacker. And but we know Vince is talented. We know Izzy's talented. I mean, we know obviously A.J. Davis has played a lot of football for us. So there's a lot of talented guys there. We'll have some different packages for each of them and give them an opportunity to go, showcase what they have. But our run game's got to be better, and we're going to find out soon, Jeff, as far as just what we have and how much better we are than what we were a year ago. But we've got to, we talked about last night, just a rushing game of stopping the run, and we've got to have a run game to be successful this year.
Coach, you got to see Austin Peay open up your college football season. Overall, they're a solid football team, although they lost their opener.
Yeah.
What do you see about this team that's put up a lot of wins over the last few years?
Yeah, they've put up, won 11 games, quarterfinalists, number 13 preseason ranked. Coach Lovings is, obviously was there a year ago as the D-line coach, is the interim head coach now. They're a talented football team. Make no mistakes about it. They're talented. They're tough. They're physical. You can tell they love to play the game when they're, when you watch them play, they just play with an attitude. And they were down some guys. I don't know if it was injuries. I don't know if it was COVID. I don't know what it was. We don't get those. Maybe Jerry can find out. Maybe we'll have him do some hunting down Tennessee, down to Clark's. But, it's, they got a, talented team. The D'Angelo Wilson kid, that, an All-American wideout, did not play. Obviously they didn't have a long snapper play in that game. So they struggled in the punt game, and which probably cost them the game. But they're talented on both sides of the ball, and you have to love what you see on tape as far as a football team goes.
Pat, I know it's early in the week, but you mentioned the whole COVID thing. Do you have any players that you expect that will miss this Saturday's game because of COVID?
No, there's nobody I expect. Our kids have been outstanding, guys. I mean, my hat goes off to them. We're playing the season because of them. Our coaches have been great. Our support staff has been outstanding in this office, like we expect since June 1st. But the kids have the harder parts. I mean, they're college kids. They're roaming around campus, and we don't expect anybody at this time. But you know what? There's a long time to go to game time. You start. I'm just glad there's no bonfire. Okay, on Thursday. I mean, there's so many things that could have happened if there was a bonfire. And again, we're going to miss it for the bonfire's sake, and seeing the Panther Pitt and the band and everybody there. It's just going to be a different year. But I don't expect to lose anybody. But we just tested yesterday as a team. Okay, just going through. This is a weekly deal, so I can tell you whatever I want on Monday. It doesn't matter because we haven't got the results back from a Sunday test. We'll have another test on Wednesday. So as a coach, you hope you get the results back from the one test before you take the next test. But the company's got 72 hours to get it to you, and they've been pretty darn good as far as getting them to us when we need to. And then Friday's a whole new test, which has come on in the last month as far as them just finding the guidelines to it. And again, it's a PCR test, so they're going up to each nostril. This company, they're going up both sides. They're not just saying let's see what's in the right or the left, which is to me, I feel really comfortable with that because I think you're going to have less false positives or false negatives that way. And so we did that on like I said, Sunday and Wednesday, and then Friday they're going to do it twice. So as I explained this whole testing procedure for the first time to our kids last night. So Friday they're going to go up the right nostril, up the left nostril with the same thing. They're going to stick it in the vial. They break off the end, they close it up, and then they're going to do it again. So on game day, or excuse me, I guess it's game day when we get the results. If someone were to come up positive, okay, they can go back to the other one and make sure. Okay, if it's a positive, then obviously they're out. If it's a positive negative, they go with the negative, saying it was a false positive. So that's so it's not like, hey, I tested positive, coach, can I get another test? It's already ready to go because there's no time. I just pray that this Mako and the testing companies on Friday can get this stuff going quickly. So our kids can get mentally locked in to knowing that they're ready to go and I'm good. Because, whether it's Friday night in a hotel, it's someone serving you, who made the mashed potatoes, who's got the broccoli. I mean, our kids, like I said, have been, great to this point. We're going to continue to make sure that they're doing everything right.
Right along that line, what's your message to the backups? Because things could change in an instant. Yeah,
I mean, they've all got to be ready. They know that. Our third team got to be ready. Everybody's got to be ready. It's a sudden change at any point, and if something crazy happens, and then not only the guy that tests positive, but the tracing that goes along with that can hit you worse than the guy testing positive. So, it's you're never feeling comfortable. So we've got to get enough guys that are know what they're doing, but it could hit you pretty fast. Where you just can't possibly get everybody. We have a 20 hours a week rule, and you can't possibly have extra practices for other guys. It just can't happen. So that's where it gets dicey.
Pat, you had Marquez Williams at the starting spot at the corner where Demar Mathis was. What did he do to win that job, and how comfortable are you with him taking over that role, which is a pretty important one for you?
I'm comfortable with him. Also comfortable with A.J. Woods. We're going to find out who practices. This depth chart is a depth chart. How does he practice this week? How does he attack a game week? Does he know his opponent? Does he go out there and play it like he's playing Pitt? He's not playing Pitt anymore. Now he's got to look good versus Austin Peay in practice. So he's that guy right now, but he's got to have a great week of practice. Like I said, A.J.'s been good. We got some freshman corners that have played awful well as well. The Rashad Battle kid, Javante Royal. Those guys have played well. They're long. They're athletic. And they're sharp. They're sharp mentally. So we've got a few guys that can play out there. But right now, Quez is the guy, and what he's done is be consistent. He knows the defense. He's tackled really, really well, and he's made plays on the ball. And that's what we expect our guys to do. Besides, obviously, knowing what they're doing.
You just mentioned a fair amount of first-year players. Would you say that this incoming class has impressed you with their kind of mentality and approach, especially in this strange offseason? And are you surprised there are so many first years being able to step up and contribute right away?
Yeah, the rookies have been really good. The rookies have been better than most, and I don't know why. Maybe we've done a better job as coaches, but you see those guys are in Coach Powell's office every morning early. I've just the D-line is in the D-line meeting with Coach Partridge early, all extra meetings. So just those guys, and Bengali Kamara, we haven't talked a whole lot about. That guy looks like he can be a special teams guru right now. Although he may not play for linebacker, play at linebacker this year, Bengali's been really, really good. He's a football player. He loves the game. And Solomon DeShield, same way. There's a lot of guys that are going to play special teams. So we've got a talented group. Again, just because a guy doesn't play, it's hard for Dayon Hayes right now because he's got Rashad Weaver, who, we don't talk a lot about, but Rashad is back to Rashad. There's, people better watch out. They're worried about 91 on one side, but they got this 17 on the other side that they're going to have to deal with too. Besides the backup. So Dayon Hayes is going to be really talented, but because of the depth of that position, it doesn't look that way, but he's going to be good as well. So I love our freshman class, and obviously they got a long way to go to be what, some of our seniors are right now. But they're well on their way to that.
Just back to the cornerback question. I was wondering, you have a senior who played a lot of football on one side, and of course Marquise on the other side. Are you afraid, or not afraid, but do you think maybe teams might try to target the younger guy? And is Marquise built character-wise to be able to welcome such a thing?
Yeah, he's from South Florida. He enjoys he's done it in games. They've gone at him. As soon as we go in the game, we say, hey, Quez, they're going right at you. Mathis is out or JP is out. They're coming right at you. And he's done a great job at making plays one way or another. So, we got some change-ups for him. But he's equipped. Jerry, you lack a lot of confidence. That's all I know. You're afraid. Are you afraid? Do you have confidence? I see just a really kind of, I don't know if this quarantine's wearing you out or what, or your wife's wearing you out, one or the other. But yeah, we're not afraid, and we have a lot of confidence. You're on mute too.
Not me.
Pat, you mentioned some of these young guys working on special teams. Does the blanket waiver for eligibility make it a little bit easier? You don't have to worry about 4 games. If you think a guy's a special teams contributor, you can just give him the green light right now.
It does, Alan. That helps a ton. We're not worried about it, but we're not going to play guys just to play them. They better be as good as what would have been in there or better. And that's what our kids have done so far. They've paid attention to it. They're interested in special teams. A lot of times those guys are like, I want to be a starting this or starting that. These guys have really bought into the special teams, and I think it's going to help us a lot.
Pat, Devin Danielson listed as the starting defensive tackle. You talked about how he's been really showing well in camp. What is the rotation going to be like with him and Bentley and Kancey and Green behind him? They're all young guys, and I know you've been talking well about all of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be like the running back position. Who's making the plays? Who's getting it done when they're out there? And I think we'll know a lot more after this first game, this opener, as far as who's the guy and who's going to get more reps the next week and who's going to get less. But it all happens on game day. I think we can play against us and hit each other all day, but until they go out in the game when the lights go on in Heinz Field, which we have not had an opportunity since November to get into Heinz Field, so that's going to be a whole new deal. That's probably my biggest concern. Jerry, I'm concerned. I'm a little afraid of not getting into Heinz Field. I mean, I just think it's important to get into Heinz, and we just haven't been able to get there for whatever reason.
I noticed it looks like Michael Smith is not on the roster anymore. Is he off the team?
Yeah, I didn't tell you that? Jeez, Pete.
If you did, I missed it. I apologize.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah, maybe I didn't, but he's been off for a while, so I apologize not getting that to you. I'm trying to think of, the names are. Who else was medicaled early? I remember we talked about this. Dontavius. Okay, so that's what it was. It was probably Dontavius we talked about. Dontavius was medical, and so was Michael. Michael's, had a lower back injury that just, and again, nothing critical. Just wasn't, he was out there for a long time. Put it that way. He was out there for camp, and it just didn't seem to be getting any better. So it just didn't seem like he was, he was going to be able to make it. So I feel bad for Michael, but he's going to get his degree. He's staying here in school, but he is medical, and he will not play for us this year. Great kid.
I feel like we ask you this every year before the season opener, the question of, do you hold things back? Do you open everything up? And I know you're not going to give a specific answer on that. Has your philosophy or your approach to that changed over the years, though? Maybe, where is it in 2020 versus where it was in 2015?
It's about the same. It's back and forth. It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, okay? And I say that, it's like, there's certain things you want to show and there's certain things you don't want to show. There's certain things that you want the next opponent to have to work on, and then there's certain things you don't want the other opponent to work on. So it's kind of a little bit of both. What do you want them to worry about on the next game? But ultimately, the most important thing is to come out of this thing with a win. And Austin Peay will not be easy, but that's the goal. And if in the fourth quarter or third quarter we got to bring something out that we're planning on trying to hold, on any side of the ball, then we'll do that. But certain things that you don't want to show that maybe you have, and then there's certain things you want to show that, just to find out what people are going to do, when they see that dilemma.
Do we have any additional questions?
Pat,
No, Chris.
I'm thinking. Just wanted to confirm Jordan Addison listed as a starting returner and on both kick and punt returns. You spoke a lot about how excited you're seeing this guy. I think he finished really strong in camp and how he's looking at the return.
Yeah, he's been consistent. Again, we're always looking for consistency. I think that's the key. It's knowing what you're going to get day in and day out. And I feel like, Heinz Field's the only thing I haven't seen him do it in Heinz Field yet. But Jordan has been as consistent as you can be. And again, if I had to pick two consistent players, or maybe more than two, I'd say, golly, Kenny Pickett's been really consistent. So is Jordan Addison. So is Wendell. So is DeMar Hamlin. So is Patrick Jones and Rashad Weaver. I mean, I put him in that category, and he's just a puppy right now. But very, very consistent. I mean, I can count on on one hand the amount of drops that he's ever had. Like, you're almost shocked if you see him drop a football. Now he's got to go do it when the lights come on.
Pat, on the outside with wideouts, with Tayseer and Jared and Shockey, what's kind of that battle? I guess is there kind of a battle for time going on between Tayseer and Jared here? Just judging by the
and Tipton as well. I mean, there's a battle going on for sure. There's a battle every day, but that's a good problem. Jared and Tayseer. I mean, it's a 1-2 punch. I think both those guys at any time could go out and get it done, and we're excited about them all. And again, the way we like to throw it, it's nice to have more than just one guy that you can rely on out there wide.
Now, what's the transition been like for Lucas Kroll, and what kind of impact can he have on your offense this year?
I think he can have a big impact, but again, it's Heinz Field. It's it's being the guy, the dude, and I think Lucas can. I mean, I was just talking to DeMar Hamlin out on the patio, watching a little bit of Steelers practice this morning, and he's like, man, that guy's a presence on the field. And, you're talking about a safety, it's got to cover him. And you look at him and you're kind of going, oh, man, he's a different guy. He can run, he can catch. He plays with an attitude, he has fun playing the game. So I think he can have an impact. We'll find out Saturday.
Pat, I apologize. My internet was breaking up when John asked this question about the COVID. Do you expect to start the week this week with everybody ready to go this week?
Yes, I do. But like I said, Jerry, your Wi-Fi was out. There's a lot of testing to go, right? I mean, we tested yesterday. I don't know if you heard that. We tested. We're going to test on Wednesday, and then we have a kind of a double whammy on Friday. So there's a lot of testing to go that, and you just hope it's accurate. That's the thing that scares me, is you hope there's accuracy in this testing. You'd hate to, for a guy to lose a game or lose 14 days for that matter, because of a false positive. So that's all the scary stuff. So we expect to have everybody at this point, okay, as I stand here today.
Pat, is Bryce Nelms was still with the team?
He is still with the team, yes. He's been banged up. I'm trying to think of when he got. This had to be back before spring ball. I'm trying to think of when it was during spring break. He was hurt, in a non-football deal with and he has not participated yet, but he's still with us. But that's on we're looking at that daily. So he's been banged up and, again, went home for spring break, and then the COVID hit. He never came back. And I believe that's a timetable. It's been a while.
We have a final question before we wrap things up.
I want to ask about Gabe Hoy. He's a guy who was a guard last year. He had 2 surgeries over the offseason, at least one, and then moves back to tackle and then wins a starting job. What kind of progress has he made? He ended up losing his job mid-season last year. What kind of progress has he made from November of last year until now?
Yeah, I don't know if he ever lost his job, and he's played both tackle and guard for us, but I don't know if I'd ever say he lost his job. Gabe is a good football player for us. We have a lot of faith and trust in Gabe, but was banged up and injured probably more than anybody knows, so it's probably more of that than losing a job, because he's been really, really sound for us. We need to keep him healthy, obviously. That's going to be critical at that position. But, again, he can still go in and play guard, and he can still play tackle. So he's a guy that we still have trained both. But, Gabe's done a heck of a job for us, in all aspects of the team, period, on and off the field. And we're happy he was with us, and we're happy he's healthy now, too, and he is healthy.
Is he a more natural tackle than guard?
I'd probably say that because of his length, I think, if you asked him which one he is, he'd say I'm a tackle. And again, I think he could be a left tackle as well. He's athletic, got great feet.